All right. Good morning, everyone. Good to see you guys. Thank you guys for being here today. We're going to be covering, camera's off. 1 second. Let me get this situated. All right. Give me 1 sec. The lighting is off. There we go. All right. Good morning, everyone. Happy to see you guys here today. We're going to be covering the how to overcome the listing commission objection. It's one of the most requested ones that we have of all. And today I want to cover that with you guys. So here's how we do it. The 6% commission, how to overcome it. Now, this objection I rarely get in my presentations, and here's why. I want to start off with some fundamentals. If you get any objections about any part of your presentation, specifically the commission, it's an indication there was a lack of explanation in your listing presentation. So the fundamentals, any kind of objection that you get in listing presentation is due to a lack of explanation or justification in your listing presentation. Every single presentation, the best presentations out there, handle all of the objections inside of the presentation. So let me say that again. Put it this way. When you have someone performing on stage who's selling from stage, if they're selling a coaching platform, if you have someone on Zoom, if you see an advertisement on television, any of those platforms, if you hear something on the radio, the people who sell the best and sell the most without objection on pricing or anything are the ones who handle the problems and solve and answer the questions inside of the listing presentation. That's a fundamental. So if you continue getting an objection in your listing process, it's because you haven't answered a question, you haven't solved a problem, you haven't given a justification in your presentation. So let's talk about the commission. How do we avoid the commission objection completely? What's the best way to solve it? The first thing that you have to do, let me ask by a show of hands or a thumbs up, if you guys can just do a thumbs up on your camera, either with your thumb or with the thumb feature on Zoom. How many of you guys send a pre-listing packet out to the client first? Show of hands or like a thumb, one of those little thumbs on the Zoom will work. How many of you guys send a pre-listing packet out? I'll give you guys a second to set the thumbs up, or you can even comment in the chat. I have it up. I see one. I see a thumbs down. Thank you, Diana, for being honest about that. All right. All right. So pre-listing packet. A lot of people aren't sending that. I'm looking at right now. And if you guys can comment in the chat, if that's easier, go ahead and do that. So pre-listing packet. In your pre-listing packet, you should include, well, we're not going to focus a lot on that, but you should be sending that out to your client in advance, 1 to 2 days before, having them review it. And then you should be calling your client before you head out to the appointment to find out what questions they have. If you're just showing up to your listing presentation and they have not reviewed your listing packet and you have not had an opportunity to ask them questions about it, chances are you will walk out of that appointment defeated, less than 6%, no listing signed. If you walk into that appointment without getting those things sent in advance, you must send a listing packet in advance prior to getting to that appointment. Here's the value in doing that. If you send your client the listing packet in advance, which should include your entire listing presentation, it should include the net sheet, all of the contracts, references for your sales, the marketing material, all of that should be sent to the client in advance, all 5 of those items. Then they get a chance to review everything. You call them 1 day before the appointment, 2 days before the appointment, asking them if they received this the packet. Once they said they received it and they reviewed it, ask them if they have any questions about it. If they don't have any questions about it, great. You go to a close automatically on the phone. Hey, Mr. Client, I appreciate you reviewing the packet. So just so you know, tomorrow should take about 5 to 10 minutes. And when we go out there, I'm just going to look at the condition of the home. We're going to go over all the paperwork, get it signed, and we'll get started. When you call the client and they review the listing packet, those 5 items, and if you don't know those five items are, we do have a little bit of time right now. So I want to make sure that you guys can ask questions as you choose to. We do have a question right now. So let's see. Digital or print? We do digital. Everything's emailed over to the client. Digital. Send it to their email, make sure they get that information. So send it to them digitally. So you send them those 5 items digitally, they review it, you call them before. If they do have a question, here's where they're going to tell you their objections and their problems. This is how you prepare for your listing presentation. When you call the client, most of the time, for most of you, they're going to tell you that they have a commission problem. Hey, I see that you're charging 6%. I see that you're charging 6.5%. I see that you're charging 7%. That's an issue. Is that negotiable? Can that change? Then on the phone, if that happens with you, you have to let the client know the following. This is, one second, I'm letting someone in. If you get that objection over the phone, this is exactly what you tell the client verbatim. We'll use Monica Singer's name. So, hey, Monica, thank you all right, Monica. So the question about the commission. All right, I got that. You address it, let them know that you heard them. You have to say it back. Awesome. So you have a question about the 7% commission. Got it. What other questions do you have about the information I sent over to you? And you want to get all the objections at once. Well, I have a question about the length of the agreement. It's 1 year. I have a question about you not marketing it in Spanish, whatever weird stuff they're going to tell you. Over the phone, it's important that you ask them all of the questions they have about your pre-listing packet. This is how you're going to prepare for the objections in advance. So the commission, the length of the agreement, and like every good salesperson, you isolate the objection, push it to the side, and you ask if there's anything else. And you have to ask it in a fashion that's authoritative, but not belittling and demeaning. Also not too playful. When you go to your doctor's office, when you speak with your attorney, you don't want them laughing and giggling with you on a high sensitive, high emotional topic. You're a real estate sales professional, so you must conduct yourself like one over the phone. Awesome, I get it, Monica. So you have a question about the commission, received, and you have a question about the length of the agreement, received. You isolate, which means this is how you isolate an objection. All right, Monica, other than the commission and other than the 1-year agreement, is there anything else? Any other questions that you have, or is that it? That's how you isolate it. You want them to grab those 2 things or that 1 item. You want them to put that in a small portion of their brain, and you want to focus on everything else. Besides that, Monica, is there anything else? And then let them reply, no, actually, that's just it. Great. So tomorrow when I come by at 10 o'clock, at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm going to show you the whole market. I'm going to walk through the property. We're going to go over the paperwork. I'll answer your questions about the commission, and we'll get moving forward with the timeline. Sound good? Sounds good. The second thing that we're doing in that conversation is we're preparing the client. It's called future pacing. We're future pacing the client, letting them know what to expect. When I go over there, we're going to answer your question. I'm going to do a walk through the home, and we're going to fill out all the paperwork so we can get started on the timeline. I'm already letting them know I'm not going over there just to talk to you. We're not going over there just to have a conversation. The intention is to move forward with the sale. I'm aggressive in that fashion. So that's how you handle it in the very beginning, and you understand it. If they don't bring up the commission to you after you've sent everything over to them, your listing presentation is just a come sign me call. You're going to walk over there, walk through the home, sit down and say, here's the paperwork. I need your autograph there, there, and there. There's no reason for you to go through the entire presentation if they've reviewed it in advance. If you go there, here's what happens. If they truly reviewed all the information you sent over to them in an email, and you go over there and you go into all of it with them, you create more confusion, and you do what most amateur salespeople do, which is you talk yourself out of a sale. It's really important that you don't do that. So send it over to them, call them. Hey, did you have a chance to review the information, Monica? I sure did. Great. What questions do you have about everything? Well, I see that you're charging 7% commission here. Is that negotiable? Great. So you have a question about the commission. What else do you have a question about in the contract? Again, authoritative tonality. You must have a downswing when you're delivering this information. You cannot have an upswing. You can't say something like this. Awesome. So you have a question about the 6% commission? Sounds good. What other questions do you have? You can't have an upswing, because if you deliver in an upswing, you will show the client that you're not confident, that you're scared. And it's the tonality in which you deliver it that's going to let the client know that they should be nervous, they should be worried as well. It's like when you look at a police officer and they pull you over, someone of authority. The police officer doesn't walk up to you in the window and say, do you know why I pulled you over? Yeah, it's because you were speeding. It's like, hi, do you know how I pulled you over? You were going 60 to 60, whatever they say. You must have an authoritative tonality when you deliver it. Number two, you isolate the objection. Sounds good, Monica. Other than the 6% commission that you're talking about, is there anything else that on the agreement or the paperwork that I sent over to you that you have a question about? Perfect. Okay, so when I come out tomorrow at 5 o'clock, we're going to discuss this. We'll have a conversation about the commission. I'm also going to walk through the property. We'll review all of the paperwork, and we'll get moving forward with the timeline. Sound good? You always ask a question at the very end of the conversation that ends in a yes answer. In sales, it's important that you get your client taking that verbal action already, and you want them answering questions that are yes, only yes, questions that you have control over. Never want to give them an open, you never want to give them a yes or no answer. Always end it with a yes. Yeah, that sounds good. Perfect. Now in their head, the seed's already planted. We're going to answer that question, do this, do that, the other. All right, now you're at, do we have any questions about that? Anything about the pre-listing packet? Any questions about how to isolate the objection, or any questions about the tonality when you call the client? You must do this first before you go to the listing presentation. You cannot go to the listing presentation without sending a pre-listing packet. You must send that over to them, and you must pre-qualify the client before you go to the appointment. If you do not do that, it will be very hard and rare for you to get a 6% listing as a professional every single time. You might get lucky because they know you, and you might get lucky because they're referred to you. But when you're talking about truly developing sales skills and a process that works, you cannot do that with the client. It's like going to the doctor's office without having x-rays and MRIs and them telling you this is a surgery that you need, here's the medication that you need. It's like, bro, what? You haven't even examined or done anything to begin with. How can you prescribe that for me? You can't prescribe anything for them until they've had a chance to review it first. Any questions about that? That's very important. That was one of the biggest breakthroughs I had in my career, was sending that pre-listing packet out. Pre-listing packet, qualifying questions, isolating the objection, and then moving in. I'll give you guys 30 seconds or forever hold your peace. You guys can jump on the mic or just type your question if you have one.
You make it sound pretty easy, Gabe. We got this.
I love that. Thank you for the feedback. It should be easy. It's not complicated at all. All right, moving on to the next portion. You're sitting there at the house. You get the objection about the commission. Number one, you get an objection commission because you get an objection on the commission because you haven't established enough value. The client doesn't know what they're getting. So number one, in your listing presentation, at the very beginning of this call, I told you that all presentations, all the best presentations, handle all of the objections inside of the presentation. All of the objections are handled inside of the presentation. All of the objections are handled inside of the presentation. This way, at the very end, they can just say yes. So how do you overcome a 6% commission objection? You have to explain it to them. So now that you know the objection, you change your listing presentation a little bit to have that objection handled inside of it. So as you get to the, I don't know how most of you do your listing presentation, but this is how we do ours. Number one, we go over our references. Hey, listen, thanks for bringing us over. Here's some references of people that we've worked with in the past, in your neighborhood, your family, your friends. Here's some references, call them, whatever you got to do. Number two, we immediately go through the marketing material. The marketing is where I handle the 6% commission objection. This is really important. When we sit down, you have to control the frame of the client. So give me a few minutes. It's going to take some time to explain this to all of you because I want you really to grasp this concept. If you don't control the narrative for your client, tell them what to think, they will think anything. So when I'm sitting across the table from the client, I let them know, hey, so before I get started with this marketing material, I wanted to ask you a question. And this is the analogy that I use. This has earned me hundreds of thousands of dollars per year because I went from a 4% commission to a 7% commission to a 6% commission, nothing less than that. Here's the analogy that I use to frame their way of thinking. Remember this, if you don't tell your clients what to think, they will think anything. You must control the way they think and tell them the narrative. All right, so Monica, thanks for having me over your house today. I appreciate us walking around. Here's my list of my references. There's my references you saw digitally. Next thing I also want to go over with you is the, not the next part, but the marketing portion of it. So now that we're getting into the marketing portion of everything, let me ask you a question. What kind of phone do you have? Always ask the client what kind of phone do they have. They're either going to tell you they have an Apple or a Droid, one of the two. I don't know anyone else that has anything else other than that. And here's the analogy that's made me a crap load of money in real estate sales. Hey, Monica, so thank you. So let me ask you, what kind of phone do you have? You have an Apple phone? Great. Or you have an Android phone? Let's say they have an Apple phone first. You have an Apple phone? Great. So do I. I have an iPhone as well. Did you know that the iPhone is not the best phone in the market? And they're going to sit there and either look at you confused or they're going to agree. Or they might even say, no, it's not. But the truth is, it's not the best smartphone on the market. We all know that Android is. It has a better camera, better technology. It's far advanced, way more advanced than the iPhone is. It's been proven time and time again. So first question I ask the client is, hey, what kind of phone do you have? Well, I have an iPhone. Great. Me too. Did you know that the iPhone is not the best phone on the market? Did you know that actually Android has better technology, better camera? It's better all around than the iPhone is. Wow, I didn't know that. Or yeah, I did know that actually. Yeah, but yet we're still buying the iPhone. Monica, how do you figure that although Android is a better phone, has a better interface, better technology, better camera, why is it that the Android phone never sells out when they list their new phone for sale? And you let them talk. They're going to tell you every single reason out there. Doesn't matter what they tell you at the very end. You either agree with them or disagree. Yeah, that's partially true. That's awesome. Yeah, that's partially true. Here's the real reason. iPhone is an inferior phone. It's not as good as the Android is. But the truth is, iPhone does a really good job at marketing. Have you realized that every single year that the iPhone has come out, they begin promoting it, a coming soon promotion, 6 months prior to the phone coming out. They have celebrities that endorse it. It's on every single social media platform. They've listed online on all the major websites. This phone is everywhere. They're telling you about the features, the benefits, how they moved the charging port from the top to the bottom, how now it doesn't have 2 cameras, it has 3. Oh, and by the way, you can buy it in 4 different colors. They tell you all these amazing things about this phone. And what ends up happening? All of us, there we are as consumers, drooling over the new phone, waiting to get our hands on it. But you know what they do really good? They don't let you touch the product until they tell you that you can touch the product. So they're doing a coming soon campaign for months. And then finally they drop the date and they say, hey, the phone's going to be released on this date. You can have it that day. And would you know it, that every single year, Monica, time after time, every year, this phone is sold out on day one. They have lines wrapped around the building of every single store. Everyone's walking about it, and then everyone's promoting and talking about it. They sell out every single year, and they don't do anything that's different about it. Yet Android is a better phone, better product, far advanced technology, and they can't get a line wrapped outside their building for anything. Why do you think that is? Now I'm controlling their narrative. Does everyone see that? Give me a thumbs up. I want to make sure that all of you understand it. Give me a thumbs up or say something in the chat. I want to make sure that all of you understand how we're controlling the narrative of the client, and you can already see how I'm future pacing the client and to give me a 6 or 7% commission. I see a bunch of thumbs up and hands up. I love that. Thank you guys for the feedback on that. This is how we control the narrative in order to give the client to get that 6 or 7% on the commission. So we let them know. So, hey, so Monica, you see how they do that? They don't let you touch the phone until they tell you to. For 3-6 months, they're doing a coming soon campaign, promoting it, listing the product on every single website. They're telling you about all the features and benefits, and you're sitting there drooling, wanting the new phone, but you can't even have it because they don't let you touch it until they tell you to. And how much money do you think, Monica, how much money do you think they spend? This is an important question. How much money do you think they spend on marketing? Do you think it's a little bit, or do you think it's a lot? High-level sales skills here, people. You need to learn these sales skills if you want to increase your income. The bigger the problem you can solve, the more money you can earn in sales. Shit, I have 5 minutes left. I have to hurry up. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize how long we were taking. Wow, that went by really fast. All right, so is it a little bit of money, or do you think it's a lot they spend on marketing, invest into marketing? And as you notice, I'm shaking my head yes as I'm asking them that question. A lot of money. Do you think it's a little bit? Or do you think they invest a lot of money in marketing? And I'm smiling at that. It's natural. It's not unnatural. Like, do you think it's a little bit of money, or do you think if they invest a lot of money into marketing? Oh no, they invest a lot of money. Of course, they invest a lot of money into marketing. And do you know what that does? It's supply and demand. They create such a high demand for that property with limited supply, high demand, that they have lines wrapped around the building. And this is where I go into my marketing plan. I won't have time to go into my marketing plan with all of you today. We'll probably do a separate training on that. But the most important thing that I wanted you to take away was 3 things. Number 1, I want you guys to take away that the pre-listing packet is extremely important before you show up, because maybe you don't have an objection that even exists. If you do have the objection that exists, you write down the objection, you isolate the objection, and then you set the expectation. You future pace your client. That's step number 1. Pre-listing packet, pre-qualifying script, isolate the objection, and then future pace your clients. I'm going to go over there, answer that question, sign the agreement, and we're going to move on to the next step on the sale. Sound good? Number 2, when you show up to the home and you go into your marketing portion of your listing presentation, control the narrative. Immediately ask them the question about an iPhone versus Android. If they have an Android, the answer is simple. Hey, so you already know you have a better phone than I do. Technology, camera, all of that. And Android users love when someone tells them they have a better phone that has an iPhone. They kind of sit back in their chair. They're like, yeah, I told you, honey, I have a better phone, don't I? Because no one really likes that phone. Everyone hates those green bubbles that come in. If they have it, they're going to understand it. Control the narrative. After you control the narrative, you need our marketing plan. We focus heavily on and if you guys noticed, I use coming soon on the phone, listed on multiple websites. I'm using language that they understand. High-level sales skills. This is how we get 6-7% listings. And then we sit down and we go over our entire listing marketing plan with them. So, hey, we're going to have a strong marketing coming soon campaign on social media and on the MLS. We're going to do video marketing. We're going to have a 3D Matterport tour. We're going to create a custom website for you. And we're going to pre-market your property in coming soon status for weeks. We want people excited about your listing before it hits the market. And then I get them to visualize the phone, just like iPhone does. And we're going to pre-list it. And then 1 week prior to hitting the market, we're going to go active on the MLS. We're going to send more postcards out. We're going to do that. We're going to do another social media campaign called Just Listed. And then we're going to have a grand opening on the open house. We're going to funnel all of that traffic to the open house that weekend. Just how iPhone does. iPhone doesn't let anyone into the store to touch this product before it hits the market. When it's listed for sale, then you can go in and touch it all you want. That's what we're going to do. We're going to list your home for sale, drive everyone to the open house, and we're going to have a lot of people there. The more demand we have on the home, the more offers you get. The more offers you get, the more leverage you have. We can negotiate a higher sales price. Take a look at my hands. We have a higher sales price. We have better terms on your offer. And this is how you can secure a higher offer for yourself. I'm using my hands so visually they can also make that mind-body connection. When you have more offers, you have higher demand, higher price, better terms, then you can secure a better offer and we can sell it for more money faster. Does that make sense? And I ask them again, does that make sense? Yes. And I'm nodding my head, yes. Yeah, that makes total sense. So this is why we charge a 6% commission. Once you've controlled that frame, you're then showing them the value of what they're going to be getting for it. If they still ask you, well, 6% commission, that's a lot of money. And then then at that point, you have to break it down to them. And I have 30 seconds to break this down. I apologize for taking long. I didn't realize it was going to be this long. But this is how so that's the first, well, actually, we'll just focus on that. On the second part, we'll talk about the next portion. Let me open it up for questions on how to control the narrative for the client. If you do that, your likeliness of having any commission objection is going to go down drastically. I almost never get a commission objection. It's always 5.5 at the lowest, 6% on average, 7% at the highest. And we always charge our clients a $2,000 TC fee. What questions do you guys have about handling that objection or setting the frame for your client to think? Give me some feedback as well. What was your breakthroughs? What questions do you have about it? Let's open it up. Not everyone at once.
Hi, Gabe, it's Crystal.
Hey, Crystal, good morning.
Good morning. Hey, any chance that we could get like a sample of like what your pre-listing, like what that email looks like?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Cherish, can you send that over to Crystal? Thank you. We'll get the pre-listing
Thank
packet
you.
out. We'll send you exactly the email that we send to a seller so you can see exactly what it looks like and what's inside of it. Good. What other questions do we have?
Awesome.
What were your takeaways from today? All right, so we got Jose, he wants the pre-listing packet. Alma wants to get it too. Absolutely. If you guys are with the organization, you'll definitely get a copy of it. We'll send that over to you guys. Any other questions regarding handling that was just part one. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to actually get into it if I get the objection again. But if you do what I told you at the very beginning, your likeliness of having an objection on commission will decrease dramatically. It's your responsibility to go back and watch this video again to increase your skills. We have about one.
Gabe, I have a question. What if when you're already at the listing presentation, they say, you know what, I'm still gonna interview, or I had someone else offer me like a 5% before you. You know how they interview different agents. What's your objection handler there?
All right, so I don't get that objection at the listing presentation. I get it before. So when you're, Jen, do you have, or I don't know who that was, but whoever asked that question, do you have the, sounded like Diana, but.
It was.
Do you call your clients before the listing presentation and do a pre-qualifying script with them? And ask
Do
them,
the pre-qual, like when they yeah, I would like to meet.
and do you ask them in that question, are you interviewing other agents?
Yes, and then I ask them if everything makes sense when we're in person, are you ready to, get everything started?
Okay, and when you ask the client if they're interviewing other agents, they tell you yes, are you collecting the other agent's information?
So I've had it where they'd like, no, I don't have their information, so I never actually have.
Okay, so if they're interviewing other agents, they always have the information for the other agents.
Yeah,
Yeah, they have the information. So the way that we ask that question, it's like, hey, so let's role play. Diana, are you interviewing other agents for the job of selling your home?
yes.
Awesome. What's the first agent's name?
Crystal Ramirez.
Awesome. Crystal Ramirez. And which company is she with?
I believe she's with EXP.
Okay, Crystal Ramirez. And aside from Crystal Ramirez and myself, is there anyone else, or is that it?
Yes, also Amanda.
Cool. Got Amanda there with XYZ company. Perfect. Okay, great. The reason I'm asking you this question is because we're going to be pulling up their data. I'd like for you to make a fair decision side by side. I'm going to pull it up for you so you can see our data versus their data and make a better decision. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Perfect. And then when I get there, I pull everyone's Instagram, everyone's MLS numbers, all of their marketing, and I compare it next to mine, and I show them the value in what we do versus theirs.
Got it.
In my listing presentation that Cherish is going to email over to you, you're going to see that in my listing packet, I have screenshots of other top agents in that neighborhood compared to my profile on Zillow, MLS, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and I have all the pages broken down side by side. So there's nothing for me to hide at that point. Literally the biggest difference between any agent, all agents, is their experience and their ability to market a property. That's it. Do you have experience in selling homes? That's what really comes down to: contracts, negotiations. Do you have experience? And do you have the ability to market it differently than everyone else? If you have, which everyone has experience, the next thing is marketing. I beat out almost every single person I go up against in a listing presentation because my marketing is far superior than theirs. I almost never lose, and I charge more. So when it comes down to that, I break everything down side by side. This is why I'm so heavy on social media marketing, and I teach everyone that. Because think about it, you have access to the MLS and you're going to put it on the MLS. I have access to the MLS and I'm going to put it on the MLS. So that makes us equal in the client's eyes. So what's different? Well, they have experience, I have experience. Well, that makes us equal in the client's mind. The last thing that we have is our ability to market and create demand. Can you create demand like an iPhone does? Or are you creating demand like an Android does? My job when I get to that listing presentation is to show you how Crystal and Amanda market like an Android and how I market like an iPhone. I can create the most demand for your property, and this is how I'm going to do it. So do you want lines wrapped around your building, or do you want people never knowing you even exist? So we can spend a little more time on that separately. I do want to respect everyone's time today and answer any last minute questions. Des Gray says training was fire today. Thank you, Desiree, for the feedback on that. Alma, thank you. Dolores says learned agents must be in control at all times. Yes, thank you for the feedback, Dolores. Any other feedback for me? Any other questions we have before we wrap it up? We do have a 10 o'clock call with training with Angel and Patty Hernandez. They're actually on the Zoom call right now. Angel and Patty Hernandez sell about 200 listings per year, and they're doing a training today at 10 o'clock. So make sure you guys jump on that. They're part of the organization. They just joined us. So make sure that you guys jump on that at 10 o'clock. Any final questions for me before we hop off? This is your opportunity. Forever hold your peace. I probably will do the part 2 to this at 1 o'clock today. I was planning on doing the characteristics of a top performing agent, but I feel like the listing objection handling portion is really important. So I might adjust that. Any final comments, any feedback on the training, any questions you have? Please let me know.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Crystal. Cool. Would you guys, all right, no, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. I will complete the part 2 of commission objection handling probably tomorrow at a later date. I'll talk to the team and get some details and figure it out, see what we're going to do at 1 o'clock. We may change it. We might keep it. I don't know. But anyways, you guys have a healthy, happy, productive day. We'll see you guys at 10 o'clock for the training with Angel and Patty, and then 1 o'clock again back with us. See you guys later. Peace.
Thank you, Gabe.
You're welcome. Have a good day.